Oh, He was the V2 rocket flight director, became the first and became director of the Marshall Space Flight Center. All the Germans who became the core of our space program were brought to the United States under Operation Paperclip. Adolf Hitler once said something to the effect, if you tell a small lie, not many people will believe you, but almost everyone will believe a big lie. These are people that came from Hitler's Third Reich. They were the head of our space program. What does that mean? Well, maybe nothing, but maybe a lot. Underlying philosophy was that it was a magico-occult based. It's interesting to note that Robert Monroe, founded the Monroe Institute, stated that NASA's space capsule program was tied in to mystical. Especially interesting is the connection between NASA officials and Freemasonry, jurisdiction of the Scottish Rite. That look at the Psychonics conference, I list all nations. The fact is the connection between NASA officials, the space program was started by Germans from the Third Reich. Over the years, reports have started to surface from people who claim they're men in black boxes zapping them, and eventually became more generic, and the reports seemed to focus on the feeling that was kind of experiment. The government was because it has to without informant. As the TIs increased the number of claims from as TIs came in 1998, ran across posting which included the sentence, quote, I would like to strap Eldenberg gurney and drip sodium pentothal into his veins so he would come clean without mind control. I responded and opened a dialogue because it dawned on me that my plan for the U.S. Marine Corps to develop a lethal magnetic weapon was being construed as involvement in a mind control program, which it wasn't. Although I later discovered that after the shutdown of the project, the technology did go dark. And I didn't go dark with it. So I may have been an unwitting accomplice in the development of the technology. We don't have to subscribe to conspiracy theories to see mind control going on under our very noses right now, and rather overtly. In the last 12 years, almost all of the school children who have killed their fellow classmates and almost all the adults who have massacred others in the workplace and at home have been on one of the class of drugs. Genetic events and what about these? Mr. Rust is absolutely correct when he said that emotions can control DNA. This is a fact. It's been demonstrated, replicated. And however, I hate telling that the technology does exist to influence emotions, which can then influence the DNA. And unfortunately, the technology also exists to control and biological level. That's the new technology. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. 1950, the Soviets translated by the foreign. In 1950, it said that 1 to 4 channels of input to the human brain, thoughts could be injected, but the subject knew that they were coming from the outside, that they were external to the mind. Between 5 and 12 and 11 channels, the thoughts were inside their head, but they knew they were not their own. And at 12 channels, the thoughts seemed to be their own. Maybe even an explanation for false. For false memory syndrome. Interesting that the wood were going off there. 10 of the signal was discussed. The CIA engineer assigned to it if they ever figured really 4. And he replied, quote, "It was either over the horizon radar or a." It wasn't over the horizon radar because at the same time they had the woodpecker going, they also had satellite technologies to look over the horizon. They didn't need an over the horizon radar. That only leaves one possibility in my mind. Psychoactive signals have been observed and photographed on television sets inside people's homes in the United States. Interesting, when that photograph was sent to 2 places. It was sent to Dick Cheney's office under the previous Bush administration, and it was also sent to an aerospace corporation here in California. And the response from Cheney's office was, "Forget about this. It doesn't mean anything." From the aerospace company, it was, "Where'd you get the psychoactive signal?" How did they know? Jose Delgado has been mentioned here a few times, and he's kind of been painted in a way as a bad guy. Jose was a very good friend of mine. We haven't had any communication now for several years, but let me tell you 3 things about Jose Delgado. He moved from the United States to Spain, his home country, because he couldn't get anybody in the U.S. government to take him seriously. The CIA had to go and contact him in Spain and ask him questions if they wanted to know something because of a collection request. The interesting thing about collection requests is that they are made by somebody in the government, and there is a severance of who made the request. There's a severance of that information to the collector. So the collector goes out with a set of questions. He hasn't the foggiest notion who asked these questions or why. It's just his job to ask the questions, bring back information. So Jose never knew who in the government wanted to know things. But one of the interesting things is that he was spending most of his time outside of Spain in the Soviet Union. And I asked him, I said, "Why are you giving your technology to the Russians rather than the United States? Aren't we the good guys?" He says, "I don't know who the good guys are." He said, "But I do know this. They pay attention to me. They listen to me. They roll out the red carpet. They're interested in what I'm doing. And, I just get some flunky come over and ask me questions once in a while from the U.S. government." So he says, "Yeah, I talk to them because why not? They listen." He invited me to give a presentation at a conference he was that he was the chairman of in Montreal. We're talking about early 1980s. At this conference was everybody I had ever met that I knew was doing research in anything that might be construed as mind control, that was doing it in an unclassified venue. It included Andy Bass, the bony guy. It included Polk. It included people even who had a lab. The only person in the whole Navy that I knew doing mind control research in a way, even though I didn't consider mine to be that at the time, this guy was. And when the government shut his project down, the Navy shut his project down. The same day they shut mine down, he killed himself. And I thought, man, you know, there's a million interesting things to do in life. You know, I am not my projects. I do not get married to the work I do. His life's work was his life. And when they shut down his life's work, he ended his life. Well, now I'm wondering if he really did. I don't know anymore, I guess. I was sitting right between Andy Bassett and Jose Delgado, and across the table from me was Wade. And I asked all three of them, how long have you been a member of this society that's sponsoring this conference? And they all said, we've never heard of it. A month after the conference, there was a collection request that came out from who knows who in the government, and somebody from the intelligence community, just a young guy, had a set of questions. I said, who asked these questions? He said, I don't know. They don't tell me who asked them or why. I'm just been sent to ask you these questions about that conference. And one of the things I told him was that the sort of the top level Russian that was there to give a presentation on mind control experiments in the Soviet Union using human beings in mental hospitals. And I asked her, and I described her as a heavy-set, humorless Russian PhD. And her response to my question, how do you get permission in the Soviet Union to do human experimentation in this area? And her response is, if you not have same problem in Soviet Union you have in US of A. Okay. When the report came out about this, there was a report that came out a couple months later, and I had alerted the intelligence guy out at my laboratory, if anything comes through your office having to do with Soviet ELF or mind control or anything, let me know. And he says, hey, we just got a report in, it's classified confidential, you might want to see it. The report was the interview with me. And the reason I know that for a fact is, you know, Dr. So-and-so from the Soviet Union was described as a heavy-set, humorless person. And so I knew it was the same interview. Of course, it was obvious when I read the content. So somebody in the government, and the reason I was interviewed was because I was the only, I was the only person with at that conference. No one there had a clue who this guy was that put it together, or this so-called society that was sponsoring it. I later found out that he was from East Germany, and it was a fishing expedition just to see, you know, who was doing what. So there was kind of a one-upsmanship. Our government was oblivious, and the Eastern Bloc got the goodies. Today we know the technologies that can induce sound into the brain at a distance, that can monitor and alter brain waves at a distance, that can alter behavior at a distance, that can induce images into the brain at a distance, that can target individual organs at a distance, and disrupt calcium ion onto individual cell surfaces at a distance, creating pain effects anywhere in the body, and technologies that have moved beyond the realm of electromagnetics into the realm of hyperspace and scalars, and into the quantum realm. We have demonstrated the ability of electric and magnetic fields to alter DNA and control bioelectric and biochemical processes in living systems. In other words, the technology to mind control is without question being used as the cogent one. Reports from the open literature. One from NASA that says, the phenomena occurs at average power densities as low as microwatts per square centimeter, between 0.4 to 3 gigahertz. By proper choice of pulse characteristics, intelligible speech can be created inside the brain. Do you know what operates also between 0.4 and 3 gigahertz? Your portable phone. Not your cell phone, your portable phone. Smack dab between those two exact frequencies. The 3 gigahertz one hasn't come out yet, but it's been developed. But 0.4 to 3 gigahertz is exactly where your portable phone works. That'll become important in a little while. How about this title? Gordon and Breach Publishing Company, abstract of a publication entitled Experimental Production, quote, or parentheses, false memory